The link in the description is only there to see the source material. Do not under any circumstance go to these people with the intent to be a dick. I don't support witch hunts or lynch mobbing, so don't be either. As for the subjects themselves, my video is for the purposes of criticism and entertainment. Take it or leave it. My content is not here to start drama. Please do not treat it like it is. No, this is not the commentary that the animation was supposed to be a part of. I still have the initial commentary I'm working on, but then Twitter happened and... God, I should have expected stupid, but I didn't. So, context. This guy called Squiggy Bird made a tweet talking about asexuality and the shit asexuals have to deal with another user, the Fat Drake, replying to it with a perspective honestly not nearly enough of people understand regarding fetishism and how, honestly, not all fetishes are sexual, which I retweeted with a quote tweet talking about how much I get that perspective considering certain dramas from about 3 years ago. You know, the one with people who labeled me as someone who has a fetish. If you know my channel, you know which drama I'm talking about. It'll hover over my head forever. Moving on. This brought in the oh-so-unwanted attention from someone who I have muted on Twitter. Our good pal Fighting Failures, who makes the obvious reply,
I don't even have one, despite being in the Abdul RP group.
To which I say, Fighting Failures, I've already addressed this. Hell, you saw the video where I addressed this. I know you're referring to Jim's response to my commentary on him, and in which case, to remind you, Jim only confirmed that I was in a group, never confirming that I actually did anything in that group. Fun fact, Failures, you can be in a group and never care to actually partake in it. You can just be there to support it. Reminder that I've been in groups about Mega Man despite barely touching the series. To a much lesser extreme, I'm in a Mega Man fan group despite the fact that I've gone on record saying that I've barely played a single game. I just like the art and think the community is interesting. Shows to me that you don't care to listen to anything. Times haven't much changed. Further exacerbated by the fact that it totally ignores the initial Fat Drake post in full because your tweet ignores the point that fetishes aren't inherently sexual. However, despite me covering this section, you, surprisingly, aren't my main target this time. Mainly because I know you don't give a shit as long as you can keep toting around the same rhetoric that has been pushed towards me for the past ever now. Fuck keeping your hate boner out of your everyday life, I guess. No, my ire stems from Sadie over there, previously known on my channel as School It Down 22, who came in with her own 2 cents.
There's a few explanations for the fetish controversy. Number 1. You're right. She's repressing her sexual side so she won't get mimed on. Even if she comes out with the fetish, sure, you'll get mimed on, but it can't get any worse, or could it?
This makes no sense. Even if this was a correct assumption, if I was repressing secret sexual deviancy, you're saying it'll happen if she comes out of the playpen but it can't get worse is essentially both trying to say that I should come out about having a diaper fetish, but also giving me every reason not to, because it would therefore defeat the purpose of hiding it to begin with. It would, in essence, make no sense to come clean about it if I was worried about quote-unquote being memed on. And this is totally ignoring how counterproductive it would have been to hide it to begin with. Just on the basis of when denying that I have one, it has sparked honestly probably more controversy and memes out of me as it is. There'd be no purpose to try to hide it if people like Fighting Failures is the end result.
Number 2. She has a non-sexual fetish for diapers. Kinda like how autistic people have a special interest or how self-identifying geeks and nerds really like, for example, comic books, video games, etc.
This theory also doesn't work when you take into consideration that I deny having a fetish to begin with. Typically, those who have an obsession in the comparison you are giving won't deny that they're obsessed with the things that they are obsessed with.
Number 3. Or she could, for some odd reason, really support the fetish.
Oh yo, what a crazy concept, right?
Out of all fetishes, I mean, support the other ones too, but, yeah, it does look fishy.
Implying it's just the one? Like, no? I've defended scat, vor, and inflation in videos, but the latter, as people like to forget, was the one that got me into hot water to begin with. On top of that, the last time that I had to talk about this particular subject, I also pointed out how I was in a body part swapping fetish group on DeviantArt. Not to mention the numerous Transformation TG groups that I'm in that I do actively partake in, openly, even to this day. Right, it's only the ABDL community though. Okay.
Also, her retweeting it and relating with the post yet stating she doesn't have fetishes does look kinda fishy like. If you don't have fetishes, why relate and agree to it if it's not relatable because you don't have a fetish? I don't know. Maybe she is a non-sexual fetishist.
Or, and crazy thought, I relate to the fact that people presume I'm not asexual because of a preconceived notion that I have a diaper fetish, despite the fact that I don't. You don't need to be able to relate to an entirety of an exact statement and scenario to find it relatable. You can relate to the concept of a general thing that happens, and when it comes to Fat Drake's original reply, I do.
You can't have a sexual fetish and be asexual. You can be asexual and have a non-sexual fetish. If you get turned on, you're sexual. Without stimulation.
This is the one agreeable thing Sadie has said all thread. That said, Failures tries to argue this later in the thread with his own tweet showing the dictionary definition of fetish to say that every fetish has to therefore be sexual. However, Failures, you ain't slick. I know you're specifically cherry-picking a singular definition for your retort, when specifically the definition that Sadie is using is the secondary use of the first definition. You know, the one that has nothing to do with sexuality and is instead just an excessive and irrational devotion or commitment to a particular thing. Also, as a side note, I'd like to point out how your reply also came out well after Ethan Chaotic's tweet, asking how an asexual can have a fetish, admit it, and still be asexual, with not one, but 2 responses coming to Ethan explaining how it works, with this Izzy Fat Cat being a big fucking mood and that people need to learn how to untag me from their stupid.
My theory is strongly either she's repressing her sexuality to prevent hate. Trust me, I've repressed my sexuality before because of haters but later accepted it. Or, not joking when I say this, she has Asperger/autism spectrum disorder and she likes diapers or is a geek.
Sadie, you somehow acknowledged the possibility that I can just merely support fetishism, but only single out the possibilities that I either have a fetish or have a fetish. Sadie, this was possibly the most unself-aware and self-defeating retort to accusations I have ever heard before. None of this is how this works, and neither of you two know what you're talking about. Please untag me from any future discussion. I don't need my notifications spammed with this. Happy fucking Pride Month, everyone.